These are my Farsport carbon wheel set 700C, 25mm external, 18mm internal carbon wheel set for rim brakes. This is the base unit, the cheapest you can buy. I paid $629. I think it was $10 shipping. I heard about these wheels from Tace Velo on YouTube, and he purchased, I think they're called the K's version of them, which are a racier, an upgraded version. I ordered the Shimano 10-11 speed hub, and I believe it's a Bittex, and it says 11 speed, but you have the spacer to make it to work for the 10 speed, which is what I have. But you can basically put Chris King on here, you can put Novatech, you can put all kinds of hubs. They'll custom build them for you. In terms of noise, they're actually pretty quiet. I have a set of Hunt wheels, and they sound like a swarm of bees when I ride. So when you order these, you have the choice of the finish. I ordered the 3K matte, which gives me the classic carbon pattern, and then there's a little separate area they have for the rim bed since this is rim brakes. And one thing I have to mention is I am noticing a substantial increase in braking power with these carbon wheels and the brake pads that they sent. All those things can be upgraded, but again, I just got the standard through axles, and I got the standard brake pads that they give you when you order the wheels. The stopping power that I've got is really substantially improved from the aluminum wheels that were on there. I had the stock Giant PR2s, they're aluminum. And another Tace Velo influence, you get a set of skewers with the Farsports wheels, but I had these titanium ones around. It does have Sapin spokes. Again, these were the ones that came as stock on the base unit, and they are blade spokes. This is a 33mm rim depth. I did have a choice of multiple depths. I think it was 30, 33, 35, 38, and then I think after that it gets more expensive. I'm not a big fan of the thick wall that you see on the Aero wheels, and I'm not in any hurry to break any records. The other thing is I bought the no holes version, so I don't have to run rim tape. It may add a little bit of weight if you're a weight weenie. I just thought I would get this instead and not have to deal with the rim tape, and I was concerned about what happens when I break a spoke, and I saw a YouTube video where you basically put the part of the spoke here, the spud or whatever it's called, you put that in there, and then you use a magnet to get it along here to wherever the broken spoke is, and then you get it through the hole. So that's how I would replace a spoke. And I am running the Schwalbe One. It's not the Pro one. This is a 30mm tire. Part of my goal was to get as fat a tire as possible on my bike, and because my bike has rim brakes, I can only get up to a 30. And I've been running these at 60 psi, and I just love the plush feel. There's such a huge difference in the ride comfort with the 30. I did have 28s. I had Gator Skins, which are a pretty rough tire to begin with a tube. But this being tubeless and this being a Schwalbe, a nice real, pliable tire, there's quite a bit of ride difference. And again, it's not the Pro. And this is what they have on their website for sale. You can buy a kit, a bundle with the Schwalbe One tire. However, I did not purchase this bundle. In an effort to keep my costs down, I decided to purchase a less expensive pair of Vittorio Rubino tires, which I had previously and had good luck with. But unfortunately, they are for a hooked rim. And through my Google search, I deduced that these Farsports wheels are hookless. For the front wheel, a 20-spoke front wheel carbon, my scale says 630 grams. And that is basically the wheel, the rim by itself. The only other thing I've added is the valve and the core, which I'm not taking out because I've got about 500 miles on these rims. Okay, for comparison, here's my Giant wheels. PR2, just the rim itself. Weighs 820. The rear wheel with the 10 to 11 speed Shimano hub, Bittex with the 6-blade ratchet, and the valve core that I have installed weighs 24 spokes, weighs exactly 800 grams. And here goes the stock Giant PR2 rim aluminum, and that weighs, again without the spacer, Shimano hub, and that weighs 1105. So although the tire actually goes onto the rim quite easily, I'm not having any luck getting this tire on this rim with a floor pump. There's just too much of an air gap. I just remounted these tires. This is the front. I'm having flashbacks of the issues I had initially when I installed them. I did finally get them seated. See this, there's a line here, right? And that to me is like an indicator that the bead is seated correctly. And as you see, it disappears here and it goes underneath the rim. So that to me means that it's not seated correctly. And I remember that happened before where I had one spot on the wheel where the bead wasn't seated correctly. So what I just did in another part of it was I just massaged it, got both thumbs, and I pushed it out. I'm gonna go ahead, I pumped them up to 80 psi, which is what the maximum is for the tire. I'm gonna leave them overnight and see if they You know, sometimes they work themselves out, the bead seats correctly. Okay, so here it is the next day. It did eventually pop out, but it says 50 to 80 psi maximum. This tire is good. It's now back to, I have it back to 60 psi, which is what I've been riding on, which I like a lot for the comfort factor. And the front was quite the challenge. I tried all kinds of things. I couldn't get it to seat right. There'd be a section on each side that was below the rim there. This happened to me initially, but it was only one section. And what would happen is when I rode it, you could see the tire tread go like this as it came to that part. You could see it shift over. So I put it in the sun, and lo and behold, it popped out slowly but surely. With approximately 2 ounces of stand sealant, I get a 1.085 kilograms weight for the front wheel. And now the rear wheel, with the Shimano 10/11 speed, and I have the washer in there. About 2 inches of sealant, I get a reading of 1.2 kilograms. This bike here is fairly representative, I think, of a mid-range aluminum frame carbon fork bike. Has a 105 group set, and the wheels on there now are the Farsports Classic, I believe they call them, with a 33 millimeter rim height, a 18 millimeter internal rim width, and a 25 millimeter external rim width. The 30 millimeter Schwalbe One tires, running tubeless. For the final weight, it has SPD pedals on it. It has 2 carbon fiber bottle cage holders. It has a speed sensor. I think that's a Magine. And it also has a cadence sensor on it. And it has an out front for a Garmin mount / GoPro mount. And these handlebars are Tace, again by Tace Velo. I don't know if I'd necessarily do them again. They're really much of a weight drop between the aluminum stock ones and then these. They are flat handle. They do have a unique feel because they're flat there. And let's see what else is extra. And a Tiagra 11 to 32 10-speed cassette. I needed the climbing gear. So let's see what this baby weighs. The final weight for this aluminum alloy frame with a carbon fork, 10-speed Shimano Farsport wheels with a Schwalbe One 30 millimeter comes in at 9 kilos exactly. Not bad. I think that translates to 19.8 pounds. So I'm pretty happy. Ride's really great. Like I said, I love the plush feel. And Bob's your uncle.